Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with my review for World War Z. Undoubtedly a title that'll sneak up on a lot of people, but do not miss out on what I consider one of the best sleepers to hit the market in a long while. This is a game developed by Saber Interactive and published by Focus Home Interactive. Focus Home has managed to hit that level of prestige for me where when they put their name on a product, I instantly am looking at it because they publish some fantastic budget titles. Vampire being one of my favorite games in a long while, they published that, and now they're publishing this one, so suffice to say I've been impressed by their products as of late. Let me explain to you why World War Z is definitely worth your attention. This game is currently available on PC exclusive to the Epic Store, so do know that, be aware of that, for $35, but it's also available on consoles for $40. It's a budget title, so expectations are adjusted because of that. Do keep that in mind as we progress in the review, starting off with the staple of this game, which is absolutely the humongous zombie hordes, unlike anything we've really seen before outside of, I'd say, Left 4 Dead. Now, there are going to be a lot of comparisons to the Left 4 Dead series, and rightfully so, because this game does mimic it in some ways, but I think the way that it elevates those moments is A, it's great graphics, B, it's wonderful environmental variety, and C, it's class structure. So upon starting up one of the missions, you can pick a class, whether it's a medic, slasher, a demolitionist, and the list goes on, and each of these classes has their own set of perks. The way you acquire these perks is simply by leveling up. At the end of the mission, you get all this XP, and you earn supply points, and these supply points can be spent on perk points, but also weapon customization, and weapons are the name of the game here, man. Not just killing zombies, but what are you using with them? Shotguns, assault rifles, SMGs, special weapons. This game has it all, and there's a wide variety to play with. Now, these weapon upgrades will give you, of course, extra damage, extra ammo in the clip, more accuracy, more range, but also because they're always readily available thanks to some fantastic mission design, it works really well, where sometimes in this moment you might need a shotgun versus an SMG versus an assault rifle, and it feels like everything's just paced out right, where the game answers to the moment. And what I also picked up on while playing this game is that a lot of these spawn locations, whether it's enemies, traps, preset traps by the game, and weapons, they are procedurally generated but still are placed in the right areas. It doesn't feel like you get screwed over by the game. Furthermore, since the game is constantly feeding you weapons, you don't get stingy with the special weapons you pick up, which are known as heavy weapons. These are only available through looting, and certain classes do start off with special weapons, but these weapons are like rocket launchers, grenade launchers, machine guns with hundreds of bullets that you can use, and they are explosive bullets at that. They're the most satisfying weapons to use, and since they're always feeding you with them at the right time, it's consistently satisfying. Now, there are 4 episodes in this game, and each episode has 3 chapters. Each episode will take you roughly an hour, give or take, and also in Tokyo, the last episode, that only has 2 chapters right now, but they are adding another 2 on launch day, so by the time most of you can access this game, there will be even more content than what I played during my review period. And sometimes I do hold back the review because of stuff like that, but in this case, the game, I thought what was available already was so fantastic that 2 more missions is just icing on the cake to me. The variety in the environments are a big strength of this game because you travel to places like New York, Jerusalem, Moscow, and Tokyo. And when you look at, for example, Jerusalem, which had a dash of color, unlike New York, which was just streets coated in zombies, mortars crashing down on the streets, there's a different look and feel to every single location. Tokyo is dashed with colors like yellow, red, and green. Meanwhile, Moscow is just a cold blue alongside a lot of snow. Not only do you have environmental variety, but you also play as different characters, and you're following one story, which is naturally trying to get a cure going and save all these respective parts of the world and fight back against the zombie hordes. It's nothing interesting, but having different characters cycling in and out, it's just a nice touch to the game so that you're not constantly attached to one character, and the game is aware that it's not trying to tell you a story, so switching characters allows for the environmental variety, thus building it into a strength. And you definitely want these characters to be controlled by your friends, because the AI companions aren't that great. I mean, they have the best aim in the world, and they'll likely lead the board in kills, which is kind of wild, but they don't get out of the way for bullets. They don't work well together. They often just stand there, and they can't be super reliable. This is definitely a game you want to play multiplayer co-op with your friends, especially because the game scales properly based off of how many people you have in game. To put it simply, there are specific difficulties that go from 1 to 5 skulls, and as you add more skulls, the game changes a little bit. For example, as the game becomes more difficult, as you go down more, you may permanently die. You'll have less supply caches to pick up on. Friendly fire is a thing that's constantly enabled in this game, and that is something that does more damage later on in the difficulties. So the ante is upped when you're playing these higher difficulties, and since the levels are so fun to run through, it's definitely enticing to come back on a harder difficulty and give it another shot. Now, it's not just zombies constantly falling into your face that you're going to be shooting. There are also 3 different types that stick out. There is the lurker, which is pretty much the one that's going to hop on your chest and ruin your day. He's constantly tucked in corners, and if you're separated from the squad and he jumps on you, you're incapacitated, you're done for. There's also the bull, which serves as a tank-like character, but what's cool about the bull is that he ties into some of the little details that this game has tucked away. For example, his weak spot is his spinal cord. If you shoot him in the back, his spine is exposed, and that's how you kill them quickly. So while most zombie horde games hit you with that one gigantic tank at this one part in the level, this one will throw multiple bulls at you because taking them out can actually end up being easy if you strategize properly. Lastly is the gas bag, which is a character like a bloater that pretty much when it blows up, there is a ton of gas everywhere, and if you stand in that gas, you get disoriented, you take damage over time, and it can be a bit frustrating. In my opinion, this was the only part of the game I found was a bit copy and paste, almost to a egregious extent. I would rather see some new zombie types on top of what has already been something we're accustomed to in this game. But it didn't change the fact that when we were taking them out, the guns had excellent punch. It felt great taking them out. It was an enemy type that demanded my attention. For example, when a horde is pouring in and then to my left I see a tank, you don't know which you should shoot at, the people who will barrel you over or the one that's going to take you down and slam you multiple times. And yes, I did say zombies can barrel you over.
Oh my god, there's so
wow,
many.
I think I died actually. Nope, I'm back up. There's so many guys, it's redonkulous.
You're literally at the exit, dude. You're literally at the exit.
I'm being stood on. There's just.
My god.
Did we all die?
Oh my dear
dude,
god,
there were so many guys
at the exit.
So it's not like in, for example, Nazi zombies where they're going to swipe at you a bunch of times and do just damage over time until you've taken too many hits. If too many zombies catch up with you, they're going to barrel you over and you're trapped until someone can either A, save you, or B, it's too late. Hell, you'd think half these people are rushing to a big sale on Black Friday. I swear, man. I mean, they pour in at you, and at times the game can actually scale up in difficulty and become a little bit tough. It demands your attention once again, and I thought that was a great feeling for a zombie horde shooter, because usually these are the games where you shut off your brain, you don't pay too close attention, you just shoot stuff. But this time around I was very happy to see the scaling and difficulty was just right. Now, there are certain difficulties with this game that aren't that great, such as the audio. The audio struggles often with layering, where it interrupts itself, it either bugs out entirely, weapons stop making sounds. Sound cuts out entirely. It's probably the worst part of the package, which is a damn shame, because when the weapons are sounding good, it's fantastic and you hear the screams of the zombies, but it's something that I really do hope to see get patched after launch, because the audio struggles immensely. And one thing that can be a actual struggle is when you do die, that there isn't a checkpoint whatsoever. Now, I like this because it, once again, as I said earlier, ups the ante. It makes you want to take on the challenge of going into those higher difficulties, completing the mission, perfect execution, not dying at all. But when you do die, you get sent all the way back to the beginning. Now, fret not, you still obtain all that progression you made on your weapon XP, on your character class. You still get your supply points to spend on new perk points. So the game doesn't neuter your progression entirely if you do fail, which I think is a good thing. But yes, you will have to start over again. If you're right at the end and you die, it feels a little old school, if I'm quite honest. While the game doesn't try to build a great story here by any means, I was happy that they had character bio videos. So as you play a certain amount of missions with characters, you actually end up seeing their character bio video where you can learn a little bit of why they're invested in this story and what's going on. It adds a bit of data to the experience where now you're learning their purpose, how they ended up in this position, and I found that worthwhile to look into because it doesn't force you to go off the beaten path, but more so just play the game and then watch the video. And these videos are incredibly stylish and actually quite reminiscent of Overwatch for some reason. Anyway, once I was done with my 7-hour adventure, I was quite satisfied because afterwards there is a multiplayer mode that we'll be able to hop into, which is a PvEVP, where you fight the zombies together and there are other players on the map and you have to shoot them as well. And I think that'll be really enjoyable for the longevity. While yes, some may roll their eyes, oh my god, 7 hours, I get it, but there is replayability here in the sense of the difficulties, amping things up, the cooperative play, the multiplayer mode, the classes, the weapon customization. Because while I did my first 7-hour playthrough all as a medic, I realized, holy crap, there's like 8 other classes I can still mess around with, which have completely different perk setups that aren't all just 5% of this, double damage for that. It's actually stuff unique to your class, where as a medic, I was healing a ton, but Tarek, who was using a demolitionist, was raining grenades down the whole time, and that was unique to his class. I ended up having a stim shot, so I was buffing everybody, so everyone can play to their strengths and have these little quirks in their class, where once again, replayability is a factor. All I can say, man, is the negatives are do not play solo, audio bugs aplenty, and also there aren't checkpoints, which I think can be quite frustrating for some, but at the end of the day, this is a fantastic budget title that I do recommend you pick up on launch at full price. Is it worth sacrificing yourself to the Epic Games Store? I don't know. That is up to you entirely. I'll leave that for the consumer to decide. But for me, man, I really did enjoy my time with this game. It was one I was actually looking forward to, and I felt like what I saw in the trailers was actually what I got with this game. It was honestly marketed, it wasn't smoke and mirrors in game, and what they did offer was a bit meatier than what I expected. And on top of that, I found it fairly priced. It understood what type of game it was because it runs well. I mean, damn well. No FPS drops when all those hordes are coming in, and on top of that, it plays well. So for me, man, this is a buy. So I do hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think of World War Z, the movie or the game, up to you, in the comments down below. And I'll catch you guys next time. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.